This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is the After Party live on Travel Tuesday. We were off for Hide in Your Cave Monday, so it's a travel day for us, and we're going to have a great time together. Thank you for being here. Thanks to everyone for your patience as well. Yeah, here it comes. Where, a little Kim, be aware. Where can she be? I'm here, everybody. Thank you for being here. I almost wasn't. It's been hard kind of juggling all my mom's doctor's appointments and trying to make sure that I'm here. So I almost had to tape the show, but we kind of mixed up appointments. So thank goodness I get to be here and hang out with you. And I got a lot of messages over the weekend from people submitting stories. So thank you so much for doing that. First of all, thank you for thinking of me. And second, thank you for finding the good stuff and digging up things I wouldn't have found. I got a really long email from teacher Lori that I'm very grateful for. And everyone who messages me, kim@theafterparty.live, thank you so much for your contributions to the show in that way. And of course, this show is crowdfunded, so you'll find the details in the show description with the PayPal information. The super chat, super stickers are always open here on YouTube as well. But let's jump into these stories. Oh, and please click like and click subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, the first story we have is about the frog statue. Check this cool thing out. This is a really old frog statue, and apparently this frog statue isn't simply a frog statue. It has a lot of symbolism attached to it. 3,800-year-old statuette. It dates back to the oldest civilization in the Americas, the Caral civilization, Caral, if you haven't heard of it, Caral, also called Norte Chico. This Caral civilization existed almost 5,000 years ago, placing this culture in the Andes alongside the rise of ancient Egypt. These people represent the earliest known example of a complex society in the Americas. They are often compared to people in the Indus Valley and Mesopotamia in their advancements. When it was at its height, this civilization had 30 urban centers that were linked by trade, agriculture, fishing, religious beliefs. This was all across the north coast of what is now Peru. And they did all of this without widespread warfare. Their influence was passed down to the Inca Empire as well. And archaeologists have spent decades looking and sifting through this site, this urban agricultural fishing hub of the Caral civilization. It's called the Vichama site. And it had 28 major structures, they say, including public buildings, homes, ceremonial plazas. And they also found this pair of unfired clay models of buildings that emphasize the understanding of urban planning and symbolic value. But it was this discovery, this very short 4.72-inch long sculpture of two frogs joined at the hind legs. It's the first artwork that was found at a Caral site. And they say it's very significant because frogs then, they say, are associated or were associated with water and rainfall, essential elements for agricultural cycles and survival in ancient societies. These clay statuettes align with other excavated carvings and reliefs that focus on the transition between eras of scarcity and plenty. So there was a mural, 34 mural reliefs that was called the Dance of Life and Death. There was another composition later called the Humanized Toad that had this amphibian with human hands. It's a message that continues over time. The archaeologists think these permanent building installations were intended as vital ideological reminders for future generations about the importance of solidarity, resilience, responsibility, and ecological hurdles. And they also say that the frogs narrate stories of shortages and hope in the face of climate shifts, and is an indicator of how these ancient societies were flexible, adapting to these challenges that are still relevant to us today. Archaeologists say this discovery reminds us that ancient societies faced environmental struggles much like our own. Their resilience and ability to embed these concerns into their cultural expressions make them a mirror for today's world. They got all of that out of a frog statuette. Wild. Did you see this story? This is so cool. This parrot now has a Guinness World Record for identifying colors. I mean, this is pretty good. This parrot is from China and now has the fastest time for identifying 10 colors. The parrot picked up straw balls that were colored and placed them into bins of the corresponding color, got the colors done in 33.5 seconds, and gets the title for the fastest time to identify 10 colors by a parrot. So it's a Guinness World Record holding parrot. The parrot only made one mistake during this, put a dark pink ball into a light pink container, but corrected the error just in time to capture the record. The parrot, who has been with its owner since it was born, showed an early love of playing with different colored balls. So we decided to train the parrot to sort the colors and do it correctly. And now you have the Guinness World Record. It's interesting to me, some toddlers wouldn't be able to do this. Some kids go into kindergarten barely able to know purple from light purple, light pink from dark pink. It makes you think about how smart these creatures are. I mean, I knew parrots were smart. They say, what is it, the average intelligence of about a 5-year-old, 5 to 7-year-old? So that's wild. Someone sent me this story, and I'm so sorry if I didn't write down who. I'm so sorry that I didn't write down who. But paleontologists have discovered this dinosaur era crocodile in Patagonia. Check out this one. Ooh, that's a creepy fossil. That's a big mouth on that one right there. Yeah. A team from Argentina's National Scientific Technical Research Council, they call it CONICNet, discovered most of the skeleton, including the skull and the jaws, of what they call a hyper-carnivorous crocodile. It's not enough for it to be carnivorous. It has to be hyper-carnivorous. It lived in southern Argentina about 70 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. They say the difference between carnivores and hyper-carnivores are that the diet consists of more than 70% meat. Includes eagles, vultures, toothed whales, spiders, and scorpions. Those are hyper-carnivorous animals. The discovery of this hyper-carnivorous creature, detailed in the journal PLOS ONE, was about 19 miles south of the town of El Calafate in Patagonia. They have named this new species Costinsuchus. Costin is the Patagonian word for wind, and suchus from the Greek Suchos, crocodile-headed Egyptian god. So, wind suchus? Nah. It's distinguished from all previously known species by traits such as the large size of its teeth and skull. I mean, that's massive. The robustness of its jaw and the large cavities that house the muscles responsible for its bite. They said the traits led them to interpret this as a top predator in the ecosystem. This animal, though, was not a dinosaur, even though it was a predator. It belongs to an extinct family of crocodiles known as parasaurs, which evolved in South America and Africa during the Cretaceous period. Costansuchus lived in humid, lush environments. It had a robust body and short legs positioned vertically beneath its torso, which made it more agile than modern caimans and crocodiles today. Its head measured about 20 inches, large for its overall size, earning it the nickname the Bulldog of Crocodiles. And in its snout, more than 50 teeth, some longer than 2 inches, with serrated edges for cutting flesh. The jaws, powered by strong muscles, delivered quick, extremely powerful bites. No thanks. I mean, I hate to see that animals go extinct, but I'm kind of glad I'm never coming face to face with this one. Yeah. No. They say it reinforces evidence that toward the end of the Cretaceous, this line of large, robust animals lived both in South America and Madagascar. They say they found them there too. Not this particular one, but just bigger creatures. So there it is, this dinosaur era crocodile discovered in Patagonia. And thank you so much for submitting that story. We have a new month upon us. It is the 2nd of September. And so we have new stargazing opportunities, including a blood moon, Venus versus Jupiter. We have a new season upon us as well. Fall officially arriving in the Northern Hemisphere September 22nd. So 20 days from now. This month's full moon is going to coincide with another full lunar eclipse. They say it's a big old blood moon, but they also say September has a couple of other celestial fascinations for us as well. So September 7th, we get a full, potentially blood corn moon. It's the full moon coinciding with the second full lunar eclipse of 2025. And that means that it's also a blood moon, which is, we get a signature kind of rosy pink moon. So because it's also a corn moon, it's a bloody corn moon. Yeah. The moon will be below the horizon by the time it's plunged into the shadow. So they say we just get the corn moon for most of it. What makes the lunar eclipse turn the moon red instead of hiding it completely? It's that the Earth's atmosphere refracts light onto the moon's surface. Long wavelength red light gets refracted at most. So that is why the rosy light hits the moon. Very cool. The moon peaks at illumination at 2:09 p.m. Eastern time on September 2nd. So that's what, 3 hours earlier for us? 11 p.m.? Well, no, 11 a.m. it would be. I don't know, September 7th. I'll investigate that. September 16th, Venus gets another dose of Jupiter. They're kind of hanging out in the same part of the sky, and it will happen again. The two planets will appear near each other, low in the east-northeast of the sky, with Jupiter rising first and Venus following. And it'll be really cool to see them together. September 27th, the autumnal equinox. So the longest day of the year is the summer solstice. The winter equivalent is the shortest day, but there is an equinox that marks spring and autumn as well. And on these days, the night and day are roughly of the same length. So that is happening September 22nd, our autumnal equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. And the event marks the start of fall from an astrological point of view. And from here, the days start to get shorter until the winter solstice. The good news is they say more darkness means more time for stargazing. So there you go. All right. How about we take a look at this health story? There's a lot of people, they're not hungry first thing in the morning, just don't want breakfast. Maybe they're not big breakfast eaters. You know, you have your cup of coffee or your Coachella Valley tea, and you don't necessarily eat first thing in the morning. Well, here researchers are saying researchers have linked skipping breakfast to a risk of broken bones. Mm. Folks who skip breakfast, say the researchers, have a greater risk of broken bones from osteoporosis. The report comes out today, or Thursday rather, in the Journal of Endocrine Society. This research done at the Nara Medical University in Japan. And the lead researcher says we found skipping breakfast and having late dinners to be associated with an increased risk of osteoporosis. Furthermore, they say these unhealthy eating habits were found to be linked with the accumulation of other lifestyle risk factors, such as physical inactivity, smoking, insufficient sleep. The researchers analyzed health claims and checkup data from more than 927,000 people in Japan aged 20 or older. That's a big sample size. They look for associations between the lifestyle and people's risk of a hip, arm, or leg fracture due to osteoporosis. And the results, they say, showed that skipping breakfast increased a person's risk of a broken bone from osteoporosis by 18%. Smoking increased it by 11%, and eating dinner late by 8%. And if the person both skipped the breakfast and ate a late dinner, the risk of osteoporosis and a bone break rose to 23%. They said other unhealthy habits increased risk of broken bones, and those included daily alcohol consumption, a lack of exercise, and bad sleep. The results, they say, suggest that preventing osteoporosis and fractures requires not only healthy eating habits, but also a broader effort to improve overall lifestyle behaviors. Because the people who skip breakfast tended to have lower vitamin D and calcium intake, indicating that nutritional deficiencies could be contributing to risks of osteoporosis. I wonder if, not the sedentary thing, but I wonder if taking supplements so you get enough vitamin D and calcium would improve that. I don't know, but the results they say indicate osteoporosis is a lifestyle related disease. They need to do the future research to investigate the relationship between late night dinners and bone metabolism, as well as intervention studies focusing on guidance regarding skipping breakfast and having late dinners. It's so weird how you don't realize these little things matter like that. Man, this is a mystery. Look at this. This is a wild mystery. This boat, mysterious boat, washes ashore on Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. The people at the beach came upon the boat just sitting there, unattended. It had washed up onto the sand. The boat was found on the beach Monday morning near Ocean Creek Resort in Myrtle Beach. Police came out. They urged members of the public to avoid the area, but a lot of people were gathering around taking pictures of this boat. One resident said, "This is pretty unusual, that they'd lived there most of their life and never saw life and never saw a sailboat this close and washed up on the shore like this." So police come out. They do track down the owner of the boat. They say no injuries were believed to have been involved in the stranding of this sailboat, but yet it's unclear how the boat came to be on the beach. Some people said they saw it floating in the ocean on Sunday, hours before it came to shore. A salvage company had to come out, tow it off the beach. The Coast Guard said more information on this incident will be made available pending the outcome of an investigation. What happened? Somebody get drunk behind the wheel of a sailboat? Like, how did this happen? There it is, just sitting on the shore. Very mysterious. How about this one? This is a butterfly nebula. I kept seeing stories about this, and finally the picture just got me. It hooked me right in. This is a picture of a butterfly nebula that was taken from the James Webb telescope, space telescope. And the scientists say this picture offers an unprecedented look at the center of the nebula, shrouded in a band of dust. They say it's not just beautiful, it gives us some clues to process stellar death and the formation of planets. This butterfly nebula is about 3,400 light years from Earth. It is in the constellation Scorpius. Officially, its name, NGC 6302. It's a planetary nebula, but they say some of these planetary nebulas kind of resemble planets in their shape. But this one, usually ones like this, are formed when a star nears the end of its life. The outer layers of the star are shed into a cloud of glowing gas and dust. The planetary nebula phase is extremely short-lived on astronomical timescales, lasting only about 20,000 years. Yeah, that's super short. Scientists say this cosmic butterfly is considered bipolar because it has two lobes spreading out in different directions, and that gives it kind of wings. So it looks like the butterfly's body is actually a side view of a dark band of dusty gas. That's called the torus, hiding the nebula's central star. It's beautiful. To supplement this image, scientists also use the ALMA, the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array, to supplement their observations, and they were able to figure out the location of the nebula's central star. They say it's at 220,000 degrees Kelvin, one of the hottest planetary nebula stars in the Milky Way. They published their research in the monthly notices of Royal Astronomical Society on August 27th. But they also say these new observations they've made about this planetary nebula, this butterfly nebula, allowed them to gather more information about the formation of cosmic dust of the torus, which is made of tiny crystalline silicates, quartz, irregularly shaped dust grains. The grains just a millionth of a meter long. It indicates the dust has been around for a while and suggests the beginnings of planet formation. The James Webb Telescope, helping scientists figure out how cosmic dust forms in space. And with this, they have a much clearer picture of how this all goes down. They said they were able to see both cool gemstones formed in calm, long-lasting zones and fiery grime created in violent, fast-moving parts of space, all within a single object. They said the discovery is a big step forward in understanding how the basic materials of planets come together. That's pretty cool. I thought this was interesting. Just the difference in the way this looks. I'm going to show you this other picture of it. Depending on which telescope you look at what time you look at it, it just seems like the pictures are similar, but yet so different. So here is a comparison of 3 different pictures of this butterfly nebula. Check that out. See, one we were just looking at is over on the right. That's the James Webb Telescope there. And you can see the Hubble optical off on the left, which is pretty cool. And then in the middle, the Hubble near IR. So depending on what was used, what tool was, used to look at it, it's totally different. But they compile all this information that they get from all these different telescopes to make their observations about what they're seeing here. The article goes way into depth about gas and particles and molecules and all the cool stuff they're seeing, but just the pictures are a wowzer. To me, and maybe to you. Well, now that we have a $1.3 billion lottery in the works, I think we need to do the lotto story of the day because perhaps it'll give us a little hope, right? We'll take the butterfly nebula away and we'll go to our lottery page. This Maryland man has collected his second big lottery prize in 2 months. We got another double winner. This man won nearly 40 grand, $39,969 from a racetrack's virtual horse racing game less than 2 months after scoring a $31,000 payout from the same game. This happened in Queen Anne's County, Maryland. This guy says he's got a routine. He usually plays 20 races and follows the results on his phone. But when he bought his racetrack tickets from the Citgo gas station, the routine ended up winning him more than $39,000 from his trifecta wheel style bet. He said he previously visited lottery headquarters when he won more than $31,000 from a similar bet in June. I play regularly, he said. I play within my means. And that may be important as we look at oh my gosh, I have to share it with you. The latest lottery jackpot is up to 1.3 billion. I'm really surprised that no one won it over the weekend because it seems like when it's at a billion, it's time for this one to pop. But here we have this lotto jackpot that is crazy. I'm telling you. Here it is. 1.3 billion. Look at that. And they're all big jackpots. The Powerball is at 1.3 billion. If you won it and you took the cash payout, you'd walk away before taxes with 589 million. What is it? 1 in 292 million that you're going to win. Mega Millions is at 302 million right now, and the Super Lotto is up to nearly 40 million. So, yeah. Lucky numbers. Seems like someone should have had a 5, right? And you look at all those numbers, like it's surprising that of all the people playing, no one had that exact combination. But okay. Are you guys going to play? I think I might have to stop. I always say I'm going to stop and then I never stop and buy a ticket. And then when I pass it, I think, I'm not going to win anyway. So don't worry about it. But still, that's enticing and tempting. And I'm sure that Lottery Place will be super, super busy. All right, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? We are going to Travel Tuesday. Take a big, deep breath. It's time to go somewhere you have never been before. Albufeira. It is along Portugal's Algarve coast. Beautiful to visit in September. You're greeted with temperatures in the 70s. There's room to spread out in September on the best beaches in Portugal. There are cobblestone streets and whitewashed architecture in the old town. You can take a boat tour of the famous Benagil Cave or stick your toes in the sand on Praia de Faleza. You'll enjoy more affordable room rates in September as well. So there's all kinds of reasons that we should be going to Albufeira in the month of September. And there are so many good things to do. Some of the best things to do in Albufeira, Portugal, include this amazing beach. It's called Praia de São Rafael. Almost makes me think of San Rafael, but it's Praia de São Rafael. The rock formations here are simply amazing. I have to show you this picture because just wow, so beautiful. Here it is. I can see Nullifidian there laying on the beach, toes in the sand. Rev P over checking out the arch on the rock, right? Teacher Lori with her toes in the blue water. Look how beautiful. Just the rock formations are amazing. Incredible. So this beach is a little bit closer to Albufeira's Old Town, but not totally removed from a big resort. It's a rugged foreshore, is what this is called, with raised walkways, strange rocks on three sides of the beach, but also all along the water's edge as well. You can kind of see down below all the rocky darkness in the water there. The rocks are streaked with yellow, orange, and red, and rise in boulders and funnels. The outcrops, though, help shield the beach from wind, and the surf is no more than a ripple on the calmer days. So, yeah, I think I could spend more than one day at that beach. That is beautiful. Another good thing to do in Albufeira is the nightlife. It is known for its wonderful nightlife. So apparently we're going to go listen to some music and we're going to go dancing and we're going to go perhaps bar hopping in Albufeira. Take a look at that. The very different prospect depending on exactly where you're based in this town. If you're in Old Town, there are squares with quaint seafood restaurants and cafes and typical Portuguese bars where you can sip a cold glass of sagres and chit chat. But if you're just a couple kilometers east, you get the strip with all the neon lights. Avenida de Francisco Sá Carneiro is north to south thoroughfare that gets crazier the closer you get to the beachfront. And there are bars and nightclubs, amusement, fast food joints, everything for young people, they say, who want to paint the town red. But don't get too blitzed because we have to go to see Old Town. And you want to keep your wits about you as you're walking down these old, beautiful cobblestone streets. Check this out. It's kind of be sad if we never have a chance to visit this in person, but at least we're visiting virtually because look how beautiful this place is. Look at the streets for pedestrians to walk down. Just looks really special to me. It's a historic center of the town. They say it's great to walk around meandering streets that taper to a little more of a width than an arm span. The houses are whitewashed, as you can see. Many of the alleys have Portuguese pavement laid out in pretty patterns. The older part of Albufeira is on high ground, so you'll find yourself turning a corner and then you get the sight of the ocean. Down below, a foot tunnel through the rock, taking you straight from the pedestrian street out to the beach. So that's pretty cool. And then we get to the water sports. This is incredible. Look at this paddle boarder. This would be such an interesting experience, I think, to paddleboard inside of a cave like this. Some of you might look at this picture and go, no, thank you. A little claustrophobic, but wow, that just looks so cool. This coastline has caves. The only way to access many of these caves is by the water. And so there are all these companies that arrange kayak, canoe, and stand-up paddleboard excursions. They say you'll be instructed on safety, you'll get expert guidance, and you'll likely be wearing a GoPro so that you come home with a keepsake of your trip. The waves on Albufeira's western beaches are often surfable, but they have a consistent breeze that allows for windsurfing and kite surfing almost any day. And there are equipment hire and tuition, instructors and guides, and they are almost always available. So, very fun. They also have a cool place where you can stop and just enjoy the scenery at this overlook called Miradoro do Pau de Bandeira. I don't know what it means. Mama, are you there? Maybe Mama knows. I know mira means to look, right? So some type of view, but look at this. It's like art and a view all at once. So pretty. Got to take your pictures there. I love this, the art with the mother or the woman taking a picture. It's beautiful. There are a few spots on this coast, Albufera, where you can stop and enjoy the scenery. They say the easiest to find is one on a rock between Praia do Inatel and Praia do Paneco. So if you're at the southeastern corner of Old Town, you can gaze back across the bay and over the picturesque townscape of whitewashed houses going up the hill. There are escalators that will lift you up to this perch if you can't climb it, and benches under this metallic canopy pointing toward the town, the beach, or the sea. Really cool. I don't think we can go without stopping in church. And I know some of you are like, how can we go drinking at night and then paddleboard in the cave and go to church? But we have to see it all. And so here we go. Here's church. It's so pretty. It's the main church, and it is called Igreja Matriz. This church is from the end of the 18th century. It has neoclassical architecture, a barrel vault, filigree stucco work on the ceiling, a very modern altarpiece. The interest, though, is in the Marion statue of Nossa Senhora de Orcada, which is sculpted in the 1400s. That's the patron saint of Albufera's fishermen. And every August 15th, there's a big procession carrying this image from the church down to the 15th century hermitage of Nossa Senhora de Orada, where it was originally installed. The route they take includes a small voyage from the marina to the beach. Beautiful. I think we got to go for that. There's museums to visit as well. Different cultures that have called this place home, all reflected in the artifacts from prehistory, Roman period, Islamic period, medieval Portugal, early modern age. They have a Neolithic vessel, architectural fragments from excavated Roman villas, and sacred art recovered from Albufera's old church. It was all put together by one person, Father Jose Manuel Semedo de Azevedoa, who was a priest and the head of Albufera's tourist commission in the mid-20th century. Lots to do here. Lots to do. There's for kids, treks, pony rides, lessons at an equestrian center, if that's from one of the resorts. But perhaps something you might be interested is the old ruins of Castello de Paderne. It's a medieval castle just a short way from Albufera. It's, again, in ruins now, but pretty amazing. Here's what it looks like today. And you can wander among these ruins in this old field and take a look. You can see the foundation of what used to be there in the foreground. This castle rests on a promontory at a kink in the Cortera River, which is in a landscape of olive groves and carob trees. And while the structure is in ruins, there's still a lot here. There's archways and thick walls, the shell of a chapel you can look through. This was built by the Moors in the 12th century during the time of the Christian Reconquista. It was captured in 1248 after a massacre. This castle, one of 7 that appears on Portugal's coat of arms. There's a small bridge over the river from the same era, just a little bit down the way. Another fun thing to do, since we're on the coast, might as well take a boat trip, right? Yeah, boat trips are listed on the things to do. It's the marina they call the stepping stone for adventure on the waves. Look at the cool buildings they have in the marina area. Kind of a pastel looking theme they have going on here. It's beautiful. They say you can take sailing lessons, you can charter a yacht, and you can sail on an organized cruise. Usually, they say you've got to take a boat. You could get to these caves by water, and you can stop off at a quiet beach for a barbecue if the seas are calm. You'll be able to dive off the side of a boat for a swim. And nature abounds in the waters off Albufera. Dolphin spotting trips are a great chance of spotting pods of bottlenose, rissos, or common dolphins in the wild. The seafood in Albufera is unmatched. They say the best signature dish is the cataplana. It's a stew named after the metal cookware it's prepared in. That the recipe varies, but normally it has some combination of clams, mussels, shrimp, scallops, and lobster, and some kind of tomato broth. Cataplana is the name. I've never heard of it. Who's ordering the cataplana? Somebody? Anybody? Here's what it looks like. It looks like a lot of seafood in one dish. What do they, here in America, they have the crab boils or the lobster boils. They, put in a big dish and then they dump it all out in the middle of the table. Cataplana. There it is. And there we have our trip. It was a quick trip. Albufeira, that is on the coast of Portugal. And in September, not a lot of people there, but everything is still wonderful with nice temperatures and still kind of tourist season, but not. So it slows down just a little bit. And that, my friends, is Travel Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed our little vacation, because I know I did. I kind of needed it. All right. I do want to say thank you to everyone who has participated in the show today and in the lovely chat. You guys are amazing. Of course, the PayPal is always open for the crowd-funded contributions to this show. And I do want to say thank you to some folks who have contributed recently. And those people would be Carol S. and Gretchen L. and Laura W. and Linda G. and Joe F. Huge, huge thank you so much for helping keep this show rolling right along. All right. I hope you guys have a really great rest of your Tuesday. I will be back tomorrow with John Rothman and David K. Johnston and Belinda Weymouth and Mark Thompson. It all goes down at 11 a.m. Pacific here on YouTube. And then we'll be back for Waterfall Wednesday here on the After Party Live. But until we meet again, I hope you have really a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.